Welcome back, Fantasy Football Squad. Today we are talking about Hero RB versus Zero RB Fantasy Football Draft Strategies. Let's get going. Bam. So there's a lot of different strategies you can take when approaching your draft. And obviously you go in with a plan and something happens and it changes and it's completely different than what you planned on. That's just kind of how the cookies crumble. But today we're talking about two strategies and how they can make your team better or potentially worse, and my takes on them. Zero RB is defined as not taking a running back in the first 4 rounds. This allows you to get a good tight end and a good quarterback and some good wide receivers while you're waiting for a running back. Now, the pros of this are pretty obvious, right? You get a lot of good positional value in other places. You can get a Sam Laporta. You can potentially get a Josh Allen. You can still get a good, pretty solid wide receiver. Obviously, the downside is you're lacking in running back. Now, some of the pros of that is that sometimes the risk pays off, right? Because this past year, you could have gotten James Cook in round 5 or later, and that would have been a huge payoff. You could have gotten David Montgomery, which would have been a good payoff. The downside is that while you could have had Jonathan Taylor, you also could have gotten J.K. Dobbins. Cam Akers was selected after round 5, but also Isaiah Pacheco was drafted after round 5. I'm personally not a huge fan of Zero RB. I think there's too much risk for me. But if that's your style and that's your flow, go for it. I think you just have to do a lot of research going into the draft and get a little bit lucky with injury. Hero RB is the next strategy, and this one I prefer a little bit more. This is where you go early for a player like a Christian McCaffrey, a Kyren Williams, a Breece Hall, someone early who's solid, who will get you fantasy production. Same situation if they get injured, you're boned, but at least you have selected someone who on paper will give you a top 5 potential output. Like I said, I like this one a little bit more. It's a little less risky, a little safer. And while there is still the potential for injury, that's kind of the case for every position in fantasy football. Minus like your kicker. Although, I mean, it happened last year to Graham Gano, so who knows. You can also do zero wide receiver and hero wide receiver options. I don't love those as much, especially because I like playing with a wide receiver at my flex option, especially in PPR, but that's just me. And I think the biggest thing is just knowing what you want. If you want a Jalen Hurts, if you want a Josh Allen, then yeah, I would say that risking it for the zero RB strategy could be worth it. If you want something a little bit potentially safer and getting a lower range quarterback or a lower range tight end, that's okay too. But I think going in, knowing what you want might be the most important part of hero RB or zero RB. Thanks for staying with us, guys. We got a lot of cool stuff coming out. We're going to start talking about mock draft soon. We're going to get into our draft guide, our cheat sheets, all that good stuff. Check us out on YouTube if you haven't already. Check us out on Twitter, our website, all the good stuff. We'll see you later. Peace.